Something that kind of caught my eye recently, I saw was somebody talking about getting help, or in general, help is uncomfortable, right? When you think of the idea of getting help with anything you're doing, I believe that a lot of people look at it and they say to themselves, well, if I get help, I'm admitting I was wrong, I'm admitting I was weak, I'm admitting that I can't do something. Like maybe I'm unable to do it. There's so many facets to that on what parts are true and which aren't. Does it make you weak? No. One time I had somebody in my life who really reminded me of a lot of things, who really brought up the idea that if you actually admit when you need help, whether it be something physical, something emotionally, maybe a love language or infidelity or things like that, or you just want to talk about the difference in how somebody loves you and you loving them, maybe you're falling out of love, things like that. You got mentally, so if you got something going on, the usual anxiety, depression, maybe mood swings, whatever. You got spiritually, if you're asking for things like, you're trying to accept the Lord, or, Jesus, or any other religion you might be. Maybe that's your faith in general, and that's what's really kind of something you need to ask help on, because without that faith, sometimes you don't have a good backing. You don't have enough really support to then continue to help drive you, right? So those types of things are things that you need help for. Asking for help in any one of those does not make you weak. It actually makes you stronger, because you can sit here and say, well, I know right now that if I don't ask for help, it's going to get worse. I know that things are going to get taken away. I know that I'm going to lose things. I know that I'm going to lose myself. Because no matter what else you lose around you, any material thing, any type of career, whatever, man, it doesn't matter what it is. People that are in your life, you're going to lose that thing. You're going to lose something. But if you lose yourself, you can't even regain the other things. Because if you don't have a good, solid foundation on yourself, how do you expect to gain back something you've lost, right? It's like people who say that they're lost all the time and they need somebody to help save them, what have you. Yeah, sometimes it'd be nice to have some type of guide, right? Some type of navigator. Sometimes you got to be your own navigator. Sometimes you got to be your own guide. It sucks. It's lonely. You think that it's bullshit. You don't even want to deal with it. You think that everybody is against you. You think that people don't want to be with you. You think that everybody just is doing you wrong. When sometimes, if you look at yourself, if you're living that badly within yourself, bro, you can't expect somebody else to hang out or be around you if you're just spitting venom, or if you're just so negative, or you're doing the most negative things. How are you going to expect your best friend to be with you, be around you, support you, if you're out smashing their significant other? It doesn't matter if that other person maybe wasn't a good person, but your friend might be. The fact that you need a support system, right? Reaching out for help and deciding that you need help shows that you're strong enough to try to right your wrongs. At the end of the day, righting your wrongs can only be of a present and future aspect. You can't right your wrongs in the past. You've already done them. You've made the mistakes, right? You can ask for help to be a better person moving forward. You can ask for help to understand yourself better, have an understanding of life, your mentals, your emotionals, your spirituals. You can ask for help to understand them now, or at least understand them in the future. Yeah, you can't change your past. You can't undo things that you've done, right? And that's really what you have to think about. Help is uncomfortable, right? It is. Because when you're getting help, you're sitting there thinking, well, I got to say that I lost. You might have to. What's a loss? A loss is something that you gave up on. That's a loss. Yeah, okay, you could look at it as a sports thing. You took a loss today, but you have another chance to come back tomorrow. You have another chance to practice tomorrow. You have another game coming up. You have another season, right? The season right now you're in, just like any other sport, you might have lost because you were trying to do it yourself. You didn't want to ask for help. You didn't want to ask a trainer, right? You didn't want to say to yourself, well, I need a trainer in life Sometimes you do. Do I agree with watching all these podcasts and all these motivational speakers? If that's something that helps you get to where you need to be, I think it's great. But sometimes we put so much faith in that we look to them, almost idolizing them to get us where we need to be. It's up to us. At the end of the day, you can watch that video 10 times over, but if you're not even doing what they're preaching to the core, how can you expect to be that? How can you expect to elevate yourself? How can you expect to elevate people around you, right? When you look at what you're doing, everything comes down to what are you willing, or how do you view being uncomfortable? Do you view that being uncomfortable is what it takes to get to the next level of anything you're doing? Mental, emotional, spiritual, career, anything. Physically, working out, hitting the gym. You tired, you don't want to run 2 miles. You can barely run down the road. You could barely jog down the road. You could barely walk upstairs and you're out of breath. Put your time in day after day after day. Your physical goes up, your mental goes up, your emotional goes up. Now you're working on your mental day by day by day, strengthening your mental, strengthening your emotional every day. Strengthening your spiritual might help you get the motivation to be physical, might get you the motivation to be mentally competent in what's going on in your life. You have to look at it and say to yourself, what is this help worth, right? What is the worth of the help that is making you feel uncomfortable? Just reaching out is one of the biggest hurdles, right? We see leaders all the time around us who aren't even really solid leaders. They're just leaders in the hierarchy of whatever establishment or whatever they're doing, right? But that doesn't mean that they're a leader. It just means that they're leading a group of people, not really actually being the leader for them, right? Because you can have a commander or whatever, right? But you got somebody underneath that can be more than that. That person on that specific team is a leader. You can have a coach who's a great coach who can understand certain things, but is he leading the team or directing the team? That's different, right? Sometimes there's dudes on the team who are leaders. They're leading you guys. They're leading you into battle. You're literally willing to stand behind them and be led by them into something, right? Sometimes you need to lead yourself into becoming a better person by asking for help. So while help might be uncomfortable and you might have a really tough time asking for help, sometimes that little question, can you help me? Can somebody help me? Can you help me? It doesn't matter how you ask it or who you ask it to. Just asking that little question can make a difference in your world for the rest of your life. A few words, a few seconds, the rest of your life. Think about that. Don't be too arrogant. Don't have an ego that is going to sit there and tell you that you can handle it yourself. All these fitness influencers, all these motivational influencers, all these high career influencers, they did it. They did it. Are you sure? Are you sure they did it without ever asking for help? Are you sure that every single one of them did it without asking for help? Are you willing to bet that they sat there and were in the same position you were, the same feelings you were, the same depressed, down states at times, and they didn't ask for help? Are you sure? Are you confident in that? Because you're going to sit there and idolize them that they don't need to have the help. They did it. They can do everything they wanted to do. Now look at them. I can do the same thing. Maybe you can. 9 chances out of 10, you got to put that ego aside and say, I need to ask for help. And it's okay to. You can ask for help in any capacity. Let's say you do think about not being alive anymore. That's what you think about, asking for help. That idea that if you ask for help at that level, they're going to take you away, they're going to put you away. Maybe not. Maybe you just ask for help from a therapist. Maybe you do it online. You don't have to do it in person. You don't have to put it out there. You don't have to tell a bunch of people, right? You don't have to, but maybe that one conversation is what you need, right? Maybe you need to ask for help because, in all honesty, let's say physically, you just don't have it anymore and you need help to do something. If you don't ask for help, you run the risk of maybe injuring yourself and not being able to do anything anymore. So you got to put that ego down, put it aside and say, I got to ask for help right now. Hey, it's uncomfortable. I ain't asked for help in 70 years. I'm 70, 80, 90 years old. I've never asked for help. I need to shovel my driveway. All right. But if you're going and shoveling that driveway by yourself and you fall, you break a hip, I've seen it. You break a hip, you in the hospital, you may not come back from that. Depending on how old you are, you may not come back from that. All it took you was 10 seconds to ask somebody to help you. Put that ego aside. It's not worth it at any age. It doesn't matter if you're 0 or 100. If you got to ask for help, you got to ask for help. Babies don't get offended. They don't have an ego, asking to be fed, asking to be changed, right? They don't have any control of it. You might not have control in your life right now. Right now, you're an infant mentally. You're an infant emotionally. You're an infant spiritually. It doesn't matter. You maybe don't know. If you don't know, you're in an infancy of that understanding. You have to ask for help. If you don't get guidance, you're never going to get there. You're never going to understand which route to go. You're going to keep just basically treading water, man. Treading water, treading water, treading water. Waves coming in, treading. You can't get over it. You have to understand that no matter how uncomfortable something is, you may need to ask. The most uncomfortable situations in your life, likely, almost every time, will honestly take you to your goals in life. They will take you to where you want to be in life. The level of uncomfortable and how you need to be uncomfortable is so different and so vast between so many people, I can't really say it all as a generalized thing. But if it's uncomfortable, likely you need to do it. You need to do it to get to the next level. What you did so far didn't get you there. So sometimes just asking for help. Be a leader, you still ask for help. Be a leader of a team, you're still asking your team to help you win. Still asking them. What's the difference? The difference is what you think in your mind and the ego that keeps you up to say, well, that's different. I'm directing. I'm doing whatever. No, man, you're still asking for help. You can't do it yourself. You can't do it yourself. So at the end of the day, understand that sometimes, yes, man, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have a hard time asking for help. But believe me when I tell you that no matter what, don't ever be scared to ask for help. Whether it be the smallest thing to the biggest thing, it might just save your life. It might just save your life if you just ask for help. So don't be afraid to ask for it. And no matter what, keep steady pressure every day. Steady pressure every day. Step in front of the step every day. Keep it going. Stay up.